Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
Hello, this is Aaron West. I am the author of the A24 New Wave. In this book, I look at A24's output and I make the argument that we are in a new wave movement right now. A24 plays a major role. This book has a supplemental podcast where each episode is a brief conversation about an A24 related topic, whether an actor, director, or even a genre. As I continue research for the book and conduct interviews, I expect to record podcast episodes with people involved with the company. You can find the podcast at cinejourneys.com or wherever you find podcasts, and we are proud to be members of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Welcome to the Kulturecast. I'm Chris Stachiw, and I'm joined by two folks who I keep pairing together because, hey, we seem to have pretty good conversations, the three of us, talking about everyone's favorite pulp writing critic, Mr. Cullen Gallagher.
Howdy.
And coming to the ring from the West Coast, Big Richard Hatem.
Boy, once again, you have dragged into the pit of doom. Happy to be here, Chris.
Yep.
It's a pretty good pit.
The pit of doom is deep, and we are continuing our descent into the pit of doom. No, honestly, this month is going to be interesting. We're talking about body swap movies. Movies where the main characters swap bodies, either through magic, because there's literally no other plot device they ever use. So,
well, they never do it through science?
It would be more interesting if they did it through sex. That's the movie we need to write. And it could just be called...
You're getting spicy.
It could be
Is
called...
this the Spice Cast?
Yeah, it could be. You know what the movie could be called? Fucky Friday.
Oh, dude.
I'll see myself
Write
out.
that.
Has there ever been a movie where a man and a woman have switched bodies during sex?
No, but there should be, and we could write it and probably make some money.
Oh, fuck, man. I got to get off this call. I got work to do.
Yeah. First, I have to masturbate
podcast
to the idea.
is over.
Second, I have to go write the movie. What?
I mean, I'll buy a ticket to this movie.
Well, does All of Me count as one of the movies category or not?
All of them.
Steve Martin, Lily Tomlin.
Never heard it, never seen it.
Oh, wait a second. No, okay. You've never heard of All of Me?
No.
Oh, okay, Cullen, you've seen it.
I have not seen it. I'm looking it up right now, and...
This is the movie. This is not a traditional body movie. The concept of the movie is that Lily Tomlin dies, spirit goes into Steve Martin, and she controls the right side of his body, and he controls the left side of his body.
Fuck, this sounds good.
It is. Look, it's a movie. It's still made 30 years ago, so there's it still feels like a movie of the era. But Steve Martin's performance, there are moments that are, I think he may have been nominated for an Academy Award. There are moments of physical humor as the two sides of his body are at war with each other that are just unbelievable. They're magic. That's one you should check out.
But that's not a body swap movie.
No, I mean, I guess not. It's a body possession movie kind of thing.
Which is like its own thing, right? Because there is... Well, that's
it's
the weird...
January.
That's not... January is going to be a lot of fun, and we'll talk about what we're doing. Not on the podcast. I don't want to tell anyone yet. But the weird thing is, before we talk about Like Father, Like Son, it is weird because you get into this interesting conversation when you talk about body swap and what's body swap and what's not. Not that I'm saying that there's body swap film scholars out there, though there might be. I don't want to say that there's not. The idea that, in my mind, what you just described to me is not body swap in the same way that the movie we're about to talk about. It's like a variation. It's like a subgenre within the genre.
As is Big and 13 Going on 30, right?
Right, yeah, and 17 again.
And Best Friend from Heaven.
Is that the one where Chevy Chase is a dog?
It's the movie where Chris Christopherson voices a dog.
Oh, that's right. You've talked about this before, and I brought up the Chevy Chase dog movie when we talked about it then.
I really want to see this movie. Maybe when I get back to drinking, maybe that's when I should watch it.
When do you get back to drinking?
I think it's going to be when it's safe to go back to bars in New York.
Oh,
so you got like another year and a half?
Wait a second. So you don't just drink at home for the hell of it?
I used to. I took a break 6 months ago, kind of by accident, and it was just too hot to drink. It was one of those days, and we hadn't installed AC yet. And so I didn't drink for a couple of days, and instead of staying up till 5 or 6 in the morning watching I was going through every Chuck Norris movie in order. All of a sudden I started to fall asleep until like 5 or 6 in the morning. I started to fall asleep at like 9:30 or 10 at night. And it was the first time in basically most of my life that I was actually getting like 8 hours of sleep and sleeping from like 10 at night to 6 in the morning. And I started to be able to wake up and have like new ideas for songs, started to get back to writing. I was like,
oh, wow. That's amazing.
But drinking is great. This is just like, I had tried stop drinking in the past and it had not helped. I'd gone to doctors, but like something clicked. And so I'm just writing with it. And most of the songs I'm writing are about how much I miss bars. I seriously, I was talking to my girlfriend about it tonight. Like, I think once we can go visit our friend who's bartending, I would love to just get, she works at a bar where it's, you get a $3 Budweiser or something. Just like, I would love to sit there, drink a cheap, cold beer, hang out for a couple hours.
And look around and not have to worry about fucking getting sick.
Yes. So I think that's going to be it for, like, personally me. Like, I don't think it's be permanent. It's just like, it worked out for this. It's helping me stay focused and slightly less anxious. But.
That's great. I support that totally. I think, whatever works. And it's funny, though, how like the times you consciously tried, you kind of hit a wall, but then it sort of happened unplanned and was a smoother transition. I don't know what that says about the human condition, but it's interesting to me, and I'm glad it worked out for you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I thank you, and you're totally right, because I feel like in the past when I have tried to, it's just like, even when I had tried to cut back to one beer a night, it's like, oh my God, it's my one fucking beer. But this time it was not hard for me. It was just like, I still have beer from that week sitting in the fridge.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I've heard people, they'll get the flu or they'll kind of get sick. So for a few days, they kind of fall off their drinking schedule, as it were. And then when they feel better, they don't pick it right back up. And it's that same kind of thing. It's like, oh, yeah, I didn't do it when I was sick, and now I'm better, and I just never really felt like doing it, and so now I've been off it for a while. And they don't, and it's not connected to necessarily, I will never do it again. It's just like, I kind of fell out of that groove, and now I'm in a different groove for a while, and I'm not putting a ton of psychic pressure on myself. Oh my God, don't do it. It's just like, yeah, I'll probably do it again, just not today.
And it makes you appreciate it a lot more when you do get to.
Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondersight comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed, lab proven to work fast, and proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wonderside's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wonderside.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wonderside.com. Wonderside. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wonderside today.
Hello, this is Chris Haskell from They Live by Film. For those that don't know us, Adam, Zach, and I, we built a podcast over the last 2 years that's a combination of film discussion from 3 very different perspectives, as well as industry interviews with the leaders in boutique Blu-ray and 4K community. We started with Deaf Crocodile, but over time we've been lucky enough to speak with Arrow Video, Severin, Mondo Macabro, Vinegar Syndrome, Radiance, Indicator, most of the OCN partner labels. It's been a blast. You can find us wherever you podcast, and also actually recently as part of Someone's Favorite Production Podcast Network. We hope to see you online.
Do it.
Oh man, yeah, I cannot wait to go to fucking like Other Half or some of the other craft breweries here in the city. Can jams.
Yeah, and it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, but it is weird that it feels like, even though we know that, there's still that part of your brain that's like, oh, that'll never again. I guess, that was that time of my life to rest.
The before times. Speaking of the before times, Like Father, Like Son is a movie that came out in 1987 in the before times.
Dr. Jack Hammond had one of the most brilliant minds in the medical community until he and his son...
Hi. Hi.
...exchanged minds.
Chris? Dad? There's no such thing as a brain transference.
Now, the doctor...
See ya.
...is back in high school.
It's really not cool to scam on your own son's date. The main bronchi and its branches are evenly distributed about the circumference of the tubes. Riveting.
And his son...
Hi, Bob.
Whoa! I'll have a martini.
You want that on the rocks?
No, in a glass is fine.
...is a virgin surgeon.
Just take off all our clothes and just go at it. Rubbing and feeling.
It's rock and roll. Yeah! You were out all night in my body. You are grounded for the rest of your life. Brain transfers is a very inexact science, as you might well imagine.
Don't worry, Mr. Epstein. We're not going to let you die. Are we, guys?
No.
God, this is great. I love it.
You go right now and do whatever the hell you have to do to get us out of this thing.
I can't stabilize him. He's in V-tech. Our arc is racing.
I'm not Dr. Hammond.
Going into V-tech. Whack him one.
What?
Hit him, Dr. Hammond. Hit him.
Dudley Moore. Kirk Cameron. Like father, like son.
It is a pre-COVID movie.
A lot of things are. Almost everything is at this point, aside from like Tenet. So
Let me put it this way. This movie came out in 1987 so hard.
yeah,
It is
boy.
It's an advertisement for 1987. Like the Motley Crue album came out that year.
They have a ton of really dated music like Aerosmith and Wang Chung, both bands I actually like, but anytime I hear the songs in this movie, I'm like, yep, those songs are from that time.
They have a great Ramones song, though. Somebody put something in my drink.
That's true. So I'm curious, Richard.
That's all right.
I'm curious, Richard, what did you think of Like Father, Like Son, and was this the first time you'd watched it?
It was the first time I'd seen it. I'll just circle back really quickly to the 1987-ness of this movie. I mean, it really, like, I'm not one of those guys who will make that kind of comment, like, oh, this movie was so 80s, or oh my God, the 70s are calling, they want their flares back, or things. But to segue into my opinion of this movie, it was so artlessly done that there was almost nothing else noticed in this movie than the haircuts that the women had and the amount of shoulder padding they were hauling around. This may be the movie that I like the least of all the movies that you have. I mean, Night on Bear Mountain I enjoyed more than this. This was a truly bad movie, in my opinion, because it never made a good argument for its own existence. There was no point where I felt like, well, I get what they were trying to do, but for some reason they just couldn't get over that bar. I don't even think they were really trying to do anything. There seemed to be really no reason for this movie to exist. Having said that, there was one thing I would compliment about the movie. Shall I say that now, or shall I hold on to that card?
I would wait. If there's only one, let's.
It's gonna be a short podcast.
Yeah, it's gonna be a real goddamn short podcast. I liked one thing about this movie. Bum ba bum ba bum bum. Drum, cymbal, and we're out.
I'll hold on to it.
What about you, Cullen? I know that this was the first time you.
This was the first time, and I won't disagree with Richard about most of that, but I still found it a delightful movie. It was really silly, kind of dumb, but it moved very quickly. And I like Dudley Moore. I thought he was really funny in this. It didn't belabor any of its lack of logic. It didn't belabor anything about it. And maybe it's just like I'm, trying to finish my, dissertation, my graduate dissertation this week. So this was really nice relief for my brain. I enjoyed it. I watched it a second time this afternoon, and it's like, I feel like, this is something, I don't have cable anymore, but it's like, I could see this being on TNT or some other cable channel, walking in at 3:30 in the afternoon on like a Sunday, and it's on, and you walk in 3/4 of the way, and you watch a few minutes. It's a very, to me, it was pleasant.
Oh, I thought of a second. Okay, I got two things.
Dude, you can't make this podcast any longer.
Yeah, right?
If we're lucky, we'll be out of here.
Right. Well, it's already been 14, so so there you go.
There you go. Perfect.
Chris, what did you think about this movie, and was this your first time seeing it?
It was my first time. I programmed this entire month because it feels like this year I didn't program a lot. I actually kind of turned the reins over to a whole bunch of folks, which I'm totally okay with because I got to watch a lot of movies I never would have watched otherwise. So this month was one of the months this year that I actually had a very strong hand in programming, and I actually really like this movie a lot, which is fucking surprising. Because it's got
super surprising.
It is, and here's the thing: Kirk Cameron is a piece of shit in real life. In the now times, Kirk Cameron is a insufferable asshole of the highest order.
I know nothing about Kirk Cameron other than when I used to watch him on Growing Pains, and I think this is the first thing I've seen him in since I used to watch Growing Pains.
He's a hyper evangelical.
Okay.
So, and you can do your own research into that, but he is one of those people that doesn't believe in evolution and doesn't believe in gay rights, and it's just, he's one of those people who does exactly what evangelical Christians do, which is give every other Christian a bad name.
I don't need to do any more research into this guy.
Yes, much to Richard's surprise, I actually like this movie. It was fun, like Cullen said. I've spent the last kind of 2 weeks either cooking or watching Lord of the Rings or Lord of the Rings associated ephemera, and so this was a nice change of pace, as it were. It's a fucking stupid movie. I don't think anyone's going to go to bat and say, Like Father, Like Son is the pinnacle of American cinema in 1987. But there are some parts that are legitimately funny. Like Cullen said, Dudley Moore's hilarious. I mean, Dudley Moore is a talented comedic actor. No one is going to argue that. And yeah, does it do anything new with the body swap kind of trope? No. But does it have to? No. Do any of them really have to? Not really.
From the beginning, I don't even think this movie even quite does.
Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondersight comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wonderside's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wonderside.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wonderside.com. Wonderside. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wonderside today.
Half a body swap? You know, it's like the opening sequence, which I actually think is a really funny kind of bait and switch where you think you're going to go see like father like son, then you see this guy that's not the star of the movie running through, looks like a desert terrain, and then he's injured and he's going through surgery. But that body swap makes no sense because he's undergoing surgery, and so they give him this sort of brain swap medicine so somebody else can feel the pain.
I thought it was so that he would
doesn't?
stop freaking out. Or I guess it is because of the pain. I mean, they say that. It doesn't make any sense. And again, it's magic, right? I mean, magic.
Well, the magic I don't care about. It's just like the logic.
I know, but I'm just saying like these are all like look, there's no basis for body swapping in reality, so it's always going to be fantastic.
Says you.
says me. Yes, says me.
Well, the logic that I placed upon that moment was that the person, and I don't know if this person was supposed to be Native American or if they were borrowing from a Central American culture, what exactly where we were supposed to be, but I think the implication was that the person who went into his body did that quite often for other people and had reached a point of like, a sort of Zen level of like, I can go into an injured body and not be immediately consumed with pain to the point where I'm thrashing around. And so this is my gig and I'm good at it for whatever reason. And that's that. But that was just me guessing.
That's amazing subtext reading, Richard. I very, very nice close analysis.
Well, I was interested in the way you guys reacted to the movie. I'm a little bit surprised, but it does bring up a really interesting point that is kind of a general point about the way we enjoy and consume popular entertainment, and that is, the movie that's not very good, and then the movie that is bad, and how what our lines and like what our expectation is like I'm sort of coming at it from like, this is sort of a bad movie, and you guys were like, hey, you know what, it was pretty, but it was inoffensive, it was well-meaning and had enough joie de vivre to make me, it didn't put me in a bad mood. You know how some movies do?
Yeah.
And what is that difference? Like, what is the thing that just like hits your tripwire and makes you go, no, you know what, now I'm angry we made this movie. I resent you for having spent 2 years here.
I think at least in terms of this movie, it never takes itself seriously. And it doesn't, to me, I mean, I think when you call it inoffensive, I think that is kind of a good way to describe it. But, it's like the plot that doesn't belabor anything. It didn't really seem to have any, like, big message or point. Even, like, the father-son relationship stuff never gets really cloying. Like, I feel like the movie knew we basically just need to get to the point where Dudley Moore, changes bodies so then he can, start acting, like there's a teenager in his body, and he can start trying to go on a date, and it can go really bad because he doesn't know how to order a martini. Like, I think they just wanted to get to that stuff.
That is really interesting. Okay, I'll turn over one of my, and no surprise, one of the joys of this movie is Dudley Moore, who if you ever start to devalue and go, oh yeah, but he was okay but not great. This is a movie where you go, God, even in a movie where he is not given very much, he really brings a lot to it. And I would agree that he was the number one bright spot. There was a second bright spot, but the number one bright spot, let's talk about him first, Dudley Moore. I was really impressed with how much his entire physicality changed. I know it's easy to say, but he really did seem like a different person instantly. Like the muscles in his face changed, and his ability to just be 17 and just sort of be that kid, that was a joy. So I will get on board.
I love this. I just love when he's at the bar and he's sort of flirting with his boss's wife from across the room. And then he picks up, the candle and he doesn't realize it's the candle and he goes to drink it. He seems so genuinely surprised by what he did, and he's so giddy and so awkward. Yeah, Richard, you're totally right. His body language is just really wonderful to watch.
Yeah, and he is, in a way, though, he, of course, has the easier role because he is an adult actor being a kid, and there's just automatically going to be more joy in watching that performance than there is in watching a teenager suddenly just be a stern hard ass. There's fewer roads to so Kirk Cameron, in a weird way, had the tougher role. But still in all, yes, Dudley Moore did his best, and thank God he did.
And that's the thing about these body swap movies, that the longer we do them this month, the more we're going to get into this. But this is the first one, so let's talk about it now. I feel like with these body swap movies, the thing that, again, whether or not you like this movie, the entire film hinges on what you both just talked about, whether or not the actors can play the other actor's character believably. And that is such a crucial part of all of the movies we're going to be watching this month, that if you're not buying into Dudley Moore has Kirk Cameron's conscience behind his eyes, and that's the expectation of the movie, is that Dudley Moore is Kirk Cameron is Dudley Moore, if that's not believable, I have no interest. But like we've mentioned, in this movie, it's pretty believable for Dudley Moore's character. Kirk Cameron, I think he struggles a little bit early on. I think that's mostly the plot, not really giving him a whole lot to do. But at the same time, like Richard mentioned, Kirk Cameron at this point is, a young actor still.
And he may have been, it's hard for me to remember exactly where Dudley Moore was on his sort of star trajectory. I don't think he was at the pinnacle. Maybe he was coming down a bit. Arthur, of course, for me is his best work. He did many, 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 many movies after that were fairly unremarkable, like this one. I just don't know how far down the road he was. And I don't know what if Kirk Cameron was considered a big get at this point.
He would have been, because this was 2 years into the Growing Pains run.
Which makes you think that, and maybe they were hoping he was going to be the next Michael J. Fox, pluck him off TV and he'll this will be his Back to the Future. But I got to tell you, and please excuse me for being the Hollywood douchebag right now, but these guys, each one of them, I guarantee, were not in the list of the top 10 people they wanted for either one of these roles. I promise you that. And that this was done, especially on the side of Dudley Moore, for what I assume and pray was a big paycheck. And I think the reason for that is because at the time movies like this were getting made, actors were choosing films based on material. And so now I'm going to be an even bigger Hollywood douchebag and say that as lovely as some of those performance moments were from Kirk Cameron and Dudley Moore, I really think the script and the directing were below on I can't imagine a person sitting down and writing this movie thinking, well, yes, there have been other body movies, but this one will be unique for this particular reason. It's not like they had the stars ahead of time. So why was this project put on paper? And I'll go one step further in my complaint in saying that when you do a movie like this, the real joy, like you've got to, as a writer, you've got to come up with it. You can't just go, well, Dudley Moore will be. You've got to put something on the page, and usually what that thing is built from a series of setups and payoffs. The first 15 minutes of a movie like this should be hyper packed, as was Back to the Future, with setups, and not just I'm going out on a date. I'm talking about character stuff, behavioral stuff, little details that you just load and load, and you're packing it in like you're packing a cannon. So when you finally fire it, you've got enough material to fly over the next 80 minutes of your movie, where literally every moment should be a payoff. Every single bit of behavior, every twist in the plot should be reminding you of the thing they set up in those first 15 minutes. Oh, right, because he's allergic. Oh, right, he can't sing. Oh, right, he's afraid of heights. Oh, of course, he can't stand the sight of... This movie did none of that. It had a foot race, and it had a fucking, chemistry quiz or whatever it was about the aorta. It just was so lazy. It enraged me from that point of view. And I think that's what triggered my tripwire and just made me go, you know what? No, you shouldn't just depend on Dudley Moore.
And you know who agrees with your opinion in making this film angry? Our good friend, rest in peace, well, both of them are dead at this point, Gene Siskel, apparently called this movie a cheap marketing decision masquerading as a comedy.
As much as I enjoyed the movie, I will not disagree with a thing you said. Yeah. I think that's totally spot on. But regarding the marketing decision, I wonder, did MTV or some record companies give them money? Because there's
a lot of really good music and a lot of MTV.
Well, yeah, the Ramones, I think, are great, but it really felt like they were just trying to sell the MTV culture, and then I think he even mentions watching MTV a couple times, and they just show the television. This really felt like they're really trying to play up MTV as something you walk away from this movie.
Well, it was almost like someone who didn't know anything about either teenagers or middle-aged men wrote this movie.
That's fucking good.
Grasping at signifiers, and it's like, okay, well, a teenage boy will play the air guitar. Well, we know that, so let's do that about it. And they watch a lot of MTV, and they're super horny. And by the way, look, not that it was one of the two things that I liked, but well, I'll tell you really quickly, the second thing that I liked was Sean Astin, because he also got a lot of laughs.
Because why not? It's fucking Sean Astin, and he was in the last movie we talked about, and the last movie we talked about was Lord of the Rings, and he was awesome in that, too.
Yeah, he's great. He's great, and he did his job here. But I love the scene where they go to the woman bar, where every patron is a woman in a tailored suit. They are the only two men in the woman bar. What the fuck place are they? Where the women are just hanging around waiting for a middle-aged man and a 16-year-old to walk in so they can glare and wiggle their eyes.
Did Sean Astin's character write this scene? Who had never been in a bar before?
It was like a fantasy. It's like, what? No, typically there's 900 sweaty guys, 3 women who look like, a cornered rabbit in a cave. And those are the nightclubs I'm used to. What the fuck is this place?
I have
a place that doesn't exist in reality. Sean Astin, like Cullen just said, Sean Astin's character, that scene.
Apparently what people do is drive around LA in a convertible or a Jeep and stand up in the passenger. Apparently that happens a lot, because it happens consistently in this movie.
You're saying you don't do that, Richard?
No, oddly, not only does it not, I've never done it, I don't see anyone else doing it, and never did. So that's...
You just crushed my illusions of what LA is like.
I know. There's no woman bar, and there's no a bunch of being up in the passenger seat, feeling really excited about.
So the next thing you're going to tell me, that CD that he keeps playing on the date, which is just someone squealing a guitar with no song, you're going to tell me that that's not what rock and roll is?
Yeah, I'm going to go. I will go that far and let you know.
That thing that he puts on when the woman asks for music, I'm just no fucking CD sounds like that. It almost sounds like it's Eddie Van Halen, R.I.P., wanking off on his guitar, while they're just setting up the mic. No one listens to that rock and roll because that doesn't exist. It's not music. It's some Guitar Center bullshit.
Yeah, and I mean, again, rock and roll music was approached from, I will say, an outsider's perspective, the kids are into this, and put some of that stuff on the soundtrack. So yeah, that did not earned or particularly well integrated. But anyway, yeah, Sean Astin looked like he was having the time of his life, and so he carried me along, and the scenes that he shared with Dudley Moore, of course, became the highlights of the movie because they were the two best things in it.
They really were.
Yep. No disagreement.
My favorite scene in this entire film is the scene where Dudley Moore, who is Kirk Cameron in Dudley Moore's body, goes into this meeting at his hospital that he works at, because Dudley Moore is a surgeon, just a surgeon, not a specific kind of surgeon, just surgeon. I am a surgeon. And they're having like a meeting, and all the staff of the Upper Up Hospital staff are there, including Patrick O'Neill's character and Catherine Hicks's character. And for some reason, Dudley Moore, or Kirk Cameron as Dudley Moore, lights a cigarette, and then he's also got gum in his mouth. And he's chewing gum with a cigarette, and then he puts the cigarette into the ashtray, and it lights the ashtray on fire. I was laughing the entire time.
He takes the cigarette out of his mouth, and there's bubble gum on the end of it.
It's disgusting.
It's amazing.
It is vile but hilarious. It's the physical comedy that the film is missing. It shows it in one scene, and I'm just like, man, the whole movie could have been like this.
Watching him struggle to light a cigarette because he doesn't know how to do it, and then he winds.
Hello and welcome to Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys. My name is Hunter. In this podcast, I'll be joined by a different guest each week to discuss a classic Western movie or TV show. I've been a fan of classic Westerns for as long as I can remember, and in recent years, they've become very nostalgic for me. I love the aesthetic, the tropes, and I love seeing different filmmakers' takes on them. At their best, they're incredibly entertaining, rewatchable, and some of my all-time favorite movies are Westerns. We'll mostly focus on Western movies made in Hollywood, but we'll also be covering spaghetti Westerns, and one thing I'm very excited to get into are Western TV shows. I've got some amazing guests coming on the show, film professors, historians, and podcasters. And Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys is part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, and many guests on the show will be from other shows on the network. Thanks for listening.
Ends up lighting it from the middle, and he's just like choking it down. He doesn't know how to smoke it. It's funny as hell. That's a great scene.
Yeah. It's probably, again, it's my favorite scene in the movie, but it's one of the scenes in the movie that's genuinely funny. It's not trying to be funny. It's just funny. The situation they're putting the characters in, what they're doing is funny. There's no struggle to mine humor from that scene. And the unfortunate thing is there are scenes in this movie where it's like they're trying to get humor from it, and it's not funny.
Before we get to the bad part, my favorite scene is the date rendezvous. When the boss's wife shows up at Dudley Moore's house, and she wants the mood music, so he puts on that guitar wanking. She wants a drink, so he goes and gets a couple Budweisers and puts a candle on the table, or on the tray, and then the candle falls over. The couch lights on fire. He tries to put it out, and with a fire extinguisher, and tells her, "Oh, it's almost out." And then he pushes the whole thing through a glass door. He doesn't even try to open it. He just pushes a fucking couch through a glass door and shoves it into a pool. "Oh, it's almost out. I'll get it out." It's so stupid, but just the look of conviction on his face, like, I'm doing everything right. I'm putting on the mood music. I'm getting a couple beers. I'm going to put out this fire. I'm just going to push it through this door. I'm totally cool.
And the funny thing about, I would say, a lot of the good scenes in this movie have nothing to do with Kirk Cameron.
Correct.
But I will say that, again, this movie stands as a good example, and what Cullen was just talking about is a great example of an era of filmmaking where you would get big studio releases that were just real head scratchers. That you'd sit in the theater on a Friday night and just go, wait a second, what were they thinking? Like, what were they even trying to do? And why did these particular decisions get made? And was there no one standing around going, whoa, wait, why are we doing this? Why is this happening in the script? What are we? I don't think you really get that in filmmaking now. The real weird movies that are the head scratchers are ones that are intentionally obscure because they're being made on a lower budget according to a very, very, idiosyncratic aesthetic that belongs to the filmmaker and it's their aesthetic alone. But I think there was a time when there was so much cocaine money happening in Hollywood that there were a lot of executives just going, I don't get it either, but we've got Dudley Moore, and it can be in theaters by Thanksgiving. Just make the fucking movie. And those movies got made. And that may be, that should be February.
Do you think that the fact that, because you mentioned Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future earlier, but the same director directed Michael J. Fox in Teen Wolf in 85. Do you think this was like, oh, let's get another teen actor, another kind of, sci-fi sort of like fantasy teen, comedy. We can make, It'll be magic, just like Teen Wolf.
I think that is absolutely a big piece of this puzzle. It is a group of people who are chasing a target they don't understand. And in the subject of Hollywood parody, that it's just a bunch of out of touch douchebag guys snorting up rails of cocaine and going to bars and trying to fuck a lot of girls and making movies that don't make any sense. But that did happen. There was that era. There was a good 5 to 10 years from I'd say the early 80s to the early 90s when you can find a lot of movies that are just like, who was anyone not high when this got made? And literally just saying, look, this guy made Teen Wolf. It's like you said, this guy made Teen Wolf and had a teenager, and that's his thing, and that made money, and let's do it. And by the way, guys, this movie was made for $10 million and made $36 million. This was a hit.
It sure was. it sure was a actual hit, which, yep. I mean, like you said, Richard, I mean, in 87, you have a deluge of good films coming out, and you have people going to the cinema, I'm going to assume, like, every Friday, going to see the new thing. So this movie opened up number 2 behind Fatal Attraction.
Hey, think about that. Now, I have not revisited Fatal Attraction, but I did see it when it came out that weekend instead of seeing this. And that's Adrian Lyne or Adrian Lynn, however his name's pronounced. And, that guy, he's got some filmmaking chops. And, you know, it was a better movie than I'll tell you that.
Do you think, Richard, your life as a film writer would have been different if you had gone and seen this as opposed to Fatal Attraction? We may be talking to Richard Hatem, preeminent film body swapping theorist, as opposed to Richard Hatem, preeminent film writer or screenwriter.
Like you guys, I was no different. My taste has not changed. I watch movies that I watched in 1981, and I watch them now 39 years later, and I typically have the exact same opinion. I mean, it's like, that movie was great, or there's something fucked up about this movie, and it's just not working. And I'm sure you guys are the same way. It's not like it took 25 years for me to develop, and understand what movies are good and what movies are bad. You kind of feel it, I mean, and you probably love them for the same reasons. I mean, Smokey and the Bandit is what it is, but it has things that recommend it, and I can happily watch that movie on any given weekend and enjoy Jackie Gleason.
Oh, he's so... Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh, Jackie Gleason's... Apparently I heard that he wrote all his own dialogue for that movie.
He may have. He may have drawn from some character that he had done, on TV in the 50s and just sort of, vulgarized it a bit. But he's great. And on the other hand, you've got Burt Reynolds and Sally Field and the charming nature of their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if that's not enough, I don't know what is.
You got Jerry Reed. You got the dog.
Yeah. You got Paul Williams and Pat, the big guy.
I'll have to check. Yeah, I can't remember.
I've never seen Smokey and the Bandit. Is that bad?
Well, Chris, we can have a Cullen. Burt Reynolds month at some point.
Cullen. Oh no.
Oh my God, you've got to have Burt Reynolds month.
Oh, you need Burt Reynolds' year. There's just too many.
Even funnier story, I don't think I've seen any movies that have Burt Reynolds in them either.
There's a lot of movies that you don't need, and there's a handful that you definitely.
I've seen that episode he was on of the X-Files, though. That's a thing.
That I need to see.
It's pretty good, actually.
You know what movie I love? I'm just checking to see what year it came out. Okay, it was the following year. Switching Channels. It's a remake of the front page His Girl Friday, but it's Kathleen Turner, Burt Reynolds, and Christopher Reeve, and Ned Beatty.
Oh, really? And you're saying it's good? You're saying it's worth?
It's terrific. It's really funny. It's all set in. I mean, it's Ted Kotcheff directing. It's set in the sort of media. Burt Reynolds owns a television network. Kathleen Turner's the reporter. She goes. I think they're at this point divorced. She goes away, meets Christopher. They come back, and now she's going to retire. It's the same sort of setup, but it's I think Burt Reynolds has really good. He can have really good like romantic comedy, charm and charisma, great timing, and just the chemistry between the three of them is just spot on.
I will definitely watch that.
But does it have Dudley Moore in
it? No.
Shame. What's crazy about Dudley? We're talking about these movies that came out in the '80s, and we're this whole idea that it would seem to me, and you, Richard and Cullen, you've both kind of alluded to it and or flat out just mentioned it. I don't know what it was about the '80s, probably the cocaine, but the '80s seemed like a time where it's just like anything goes when it comes to movies. You had a movie with Bobcat fucking Goldthwait in it talking to a horse voiced by John Candy.
So I was wondering, because you're talking about these 80s movies that just, it's like, why do they exist? And Richard, as you pointed out, it's just like, there's really no purpose to anything in this script. And it sort of reminded me of like early 60s Hollywood movies when, the Hollywood studio system's in decline, like even like the economy of actors, they're not tied to contracts anymore. They're all free agents at this point. Studios are going bankrupt, and they're just sort of throwing money into things, being like, is this going to work? They're sort of just like taking tropes, stories, ideas from years before, and it's just like, let's just do it again. Let's see what happens. And sometimes it works and is kind of genius, and sometimes it's just like a real head scratcher. It's like, there's tons of big names in this. There's a lot of money. Why? And
I think you're spot on. I can tell you that there was no sense that anyone knew, okay, this is reliable. This is what we can rely on. At the time in the 80s and into the 90s, what they relied on were stars. That was still the thing that could drive a movie. If a big star wanted to do something, then that movie got made, even if the script was incomprehensible. And we've seen those movies. But there was so much money being made, and people were becoming ridiculously wealthy, and the studios were still more or less privately owned operations. They were not owned by giant corporations that just considered them an arm of their overall financial strategy, and that it had to answer for itself somehow. They were just answering to themselves, and so their answer was, try it. We don't know. We sitting on a gold mine. So try it. Just keep trying things, and pretty soon one of these things is going to work. And so you got a lot of movies that were shitty, but you've got other movies that were really fantastic. What works in Hollywood now, or the driving force in Hollywood now, are two things: genre films and existing properties, because that is what they now depend on. But it's a much more conservative business, and they're just not developing as many movies or making as many movies because the sudden upside isn't there anymore. And they also can't depend on stars. So it's not like, well, you just throw Tom Cruise in something and it'll be a hit. That is not the case. So it's a different, in other words, all of which is like Father Like Son got made by a very different film industry than we have now. And in 1987, it is not surprising at all. No one was like, well, this doesn't make any sense on a poster. Everyone was like, yeah, who knows? That could be the biggest hit of the summer. We just don't know.
Well, it premiered second next to Fatal Attraction, so it was a hit enough.
It was enough of a hit. It didn't make, crazy monster money. It didn't change anyone's life, but I guarantee you no one got fired Monday morning. It did fine. The reviews were terrible, and the movie, in my opinion, not great. But no one thought it was a big stinker. I'm sure it hurt them. I'm sure there were bad feelings, and Dudley Moore was made sad that he did not get good reviews. But otherwise, no one lost money, so no one got fired.
This reminds me of, because I think I've already referenced this in an earlier episode, but it's about when Michael Caine was working with Steven Seagal, where he just said, like, I made the cardinal mistake. I knew this movie would, I shouldn't have gone to where it's cold. I should have taken a movie where it would be, like in the Bahamas or somewhere where it'd be a nice, lovely vacation. Just like Dudley Moore. I guess maybe the best thing we can hope for is that he got paid decently and that it was close to where he was living, so he didn't have to drive didn't have to suffer through too much traffic.
Well, you know, the Michael Caine Dudley Moore comparison is not off base. British actors, they work. They just want to work, and they'll do. You know, they're not really worried. I mean, Michael Caine was never sitting around crafting a career. Frankly, neither was Dudley Moore. Dudley Moore didn't expect to be a huge star. That was very unexpected for him. When he broke out in Foul Play, which was his breakout film, it was totally unexpected, and it made him a star. And then he got to do 10, and then he got to do Arthur, and this was all found money for him, and he wasn't going to turn that up and say, no, I'm going back to London stage. He was like, fuck it, I can make millions out here, and I can make a bunch of these movies, and he did, you know, and God bless him. Some of them are good.
Well, and again, to your point, Cullen and Richard, like, you know, this movie probably wasn't too much work for Dudley Moore. Like, there's no way that it was. Oh, you get to, like, pretend like you're 17 for an entire film and run around and do physical comedy and pratfalls and shit? Like, come on.
Yeah.
That's an actor's dream. Again, on top of everything else, clearly filmed in LA, so...
Yeah, he wasn't traveling to a cold.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I get to live in the city I already live in. I probably get to wake up at whatever time I want because I'm the big star of the film, show up. And, you know, I make some money, I go home and live in my actual mansion and get to walk around in a fake mansion all day.
And I gotta say, for his performance, it's convincing. Like, he does, it's, you know, maybe it's not, I mean, it's not a half-assed performance from him. He delivers the goods.
Look, I think Kirk Cameron is trying too. He's just got less chops, and the role's not.
Yeah, I think you are totally right on about the writers didn't give him much, if anything, to work with. Like that track sequence kind of begins. You can't even figure out what the point of the track sequence is because it begins almost as sort of like tragedy.
Have you ever wanted to dive deeper into the horror movies you love? Beyond the Blood is a horror podcast for fans who want more than just surface-level screams. We do deep dives into the movies that shaped us, digging into director commentaries, behind-the-scenes stories, deleted scenes, and the special features that most people skip. Each episode is a love letter to the genre. We break down how these films were made, the creative risks that paid off or didn't, and the lasting impact they've had on the genre as a whole. From 70s slashers to modern nightmares, we celebrate the craft, chaos, and characters that keep us coming back. If you're the kind of fan who rewatches movies with the commentary on, or you simply grew up in the video store horror aisle, the Beyond the Blood podcast was made for you. New episodes every single week. Subscribe, and let's dig deep. Welcome to the Beyond the Blood podcast.
He kind of fumbles. He doesn't, know the rules. He doesn't pick up the flag at the right, or the pipe at the right place. And then it gets really serious and so much slow motion as he's running. It's like, wait, how did this go from being pathetic to being, like, dramatic?
Well, exactly, because you're again 100% correct. The film grammar that's being used is not comedy. It is like there's no other physical way to respond to that other than, am I supposed to be taking this seriously and feeling bad? I'm not laughing. There's nothing funny about this slow motion and the music and every other bit of filmmaking craft that's going into this. None of it is signifying comedy. And then at the very end, he's laying on the ground. And I guess that was supposed to be a kind of a punchline. But that's the other part. Rod Daniel does not seem particularly adept at comedy filmmaking. The laughs to almost come despite his shot list. That's why this one was so puzzling. I think the movie works mostly when he gets out of the way and doesn't try to do anything, but just sets the camera up and goes, okay, well, in this sequence, Dudley Moore goes nuts, and there's a hot woman trying to sleep with him, and let's just let the camera roll. Then you're in better luck.
Yeah, I think you're right.
They just don't do that enough, unfortunately.
Yeah.
No. For some reason, this just popped into my head because it's one of my favorite scenes in a movie. And I guess maybe the only connection is, seeing an actor like Dudley Moore in a not-so-stellar production, but giving his all. I'm reminded of Charles Laughton in Abbott and Costello Meet Captain Kidd. And I think those Abbott and Costello movies are a lot funnier than Like Father, Like Son and a lot better constructed, in large part because they knew, especially by that point, they had the model, they knew the type of humor, they knew the type of story. But what I really love about Lawton in that movie is, Chris, Richard, I assume you've seen this movie?
If I have, it's 40 years. I am a huge Abbott and Costello fan. I've seen most of their movies multiple times. This one, I don't recall.
Chris, have you seen it?
I have no frame of reference to anything Abbott and Costello, and showing my age once again.
So anyway, they're hilarious. But maybe, Richard, correct me if I'm wrong, but I sort of feel like they are the focal point of the movies. The movies aren't built around having, strong supporting casts and, it's, cheap productions, but put them in because they're funny as hell. And with Captain Kidd, I guess Charles Laughton really wanted to be in an Abbott and Costello movie. And he had played Captain Kidd before, so he reprises the role here, which would have been something that the audience would have loved. But he's fucking Charles Laughton, and he gives a Charles Laughton level performance. He is just firing on all cylinders. And what I think is actually really remarkable about his performance is there's a scene where it's him and a younger actress, sort of just sitting across the table from each other. And she's obviously much younger. I feel like these Abbott and Costello movies, they were getting either, sort of inexperienced actresses and, actors seeing how do they appear on camera? Are they funny? Can we build them into, something else? And it's just such a wonderful scene between the two of them because he's such a giving actor. He doesn't hog the scene. Like, he really improves it. And I just thought that was a really special moment between the two of them. But I'm often reminded just like Charles Laughton is in an Abbott and Costello movie and he's just on fire. He's loving every moment of it. And I just think it's really special. I don't know. It's one of those movie memories that just always makes me smile when I think about this. I hope it's as good as I remember. It's been a long time, but it's stayed with me, Hold That Ghost, I remember being pretty funny. Meet the Monsters, all those are good. But yeah, it's been a while since I watched Abbott and Costello.
Well, I think that should be...
Richard.
Chris, we're filling up next year for you already.
I know, you guys are already you're doing my work for me. I don't even have to do anything. Here's the thing, I'll give a month to Richard. I've technically already given a month to Cullen. Don't tell anyone. So there you go. It's that's why we're all here. We're here to talk about a movie that has no purpose being talked about in 2020 and reminiscing about everything other than the movie because the movie is practically a shell of a film with some funny parts thrown in to keep you watching until the end. And then there's no climax and nothing happens and nobody learns any lessons other than the lesson they always learn at the end of a body swap movie, which is I love my other person that I body swapped with.
I really appreciate the fact that the moral of this movie, Dudley Moore just goes, I'm going to celebrate being a doctor and my son is going to celebrate not being one. It's nothing deeper than that.
Yeah, that is the entire takeaway from the movie is maybe I shouldn't tell you what to do with your life.
Maybe. He doesn't even say that. It's just like, my son is happy he's not a doctor right now. This is great.
Yeah. But like that's again like that's like the body swap thing, right? The body swap thing in my mind seems to be, I've learned a lesson at the end that the walking a mile in the other person's shoes is a lot harder than I thought.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, if it were me sitting down to write this, I would approach it differently. But big deal. That's that's the way I'm sort of built to look at movies. The unexpected joy was the amount of commitment because look, I mean, at this point, Dudley Moore did not have to work this hard to make his performance as good as it was, and then Sean Astin is just born to be, that guy, the guy you want to spend time with. So I came away with that. So I will give this movie, but not a second.
Yeah. I mean, it's mildly entertaining and I would say relatively inoffensive. So all you can realistically ask for from a comedy no one's ever heard of from the 80s.
All right. So what do we give this movie then?
I was going to ask you that question, Richard.
Well, I mean, not to speak ill of the dead. I mean, Jesus, I can't, Dudley Moore's dead, unfortunately. Rod Daniels dead. Kirk Cameron's career is dead. What do we got left?
Catherine Hicks is still alive, and so is Sean Astin, and it didn't seem to slow either one of them down, thankfully.
Yeah. I mean, so you one of you go first, I'll go second, and one of you guys go third. What do you think?
Cullen, what would you give the film out of?
I'm thinking like a 2.5, like maybe 2. Yeah, somewhere between 2.5. I was entertained. It got my mind off of things. I laughed at Dudley Moore and Sean Astin.
My goodness. Okay, well, if you're giving it a 2 or a 2.5, and I liked it less than you, I'm going to have to give it a 1. And that's the lowest rating I've given any movie you've shown me, Mr. Stachiw.
I think you gave that movie we watched with Winona Ryder and whoever that other actor was, I think we gave that a lower rating than this.
Really?
That movie was, Richard, that movie was barely even a film. This is at least a film.
What is the Winona Ryder movie? I'm curious.
Lost Souls.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. I give it a 1.
I'm gonna give it a 2.5. I mean, again, Cullen, I'm not surprised you liked it, Cullen, because I think we kind of came at it from the same direction, where it's like, it's mildly unoffensive. It kept my mind off of the trash fire that's going on in the world outside my window right now. So 2.5. It's it doesn't reinvent the wheel. It barely is even a wheel, but it does enough to make me laugh. The scene with the cigarette and the bubblegum is, it's pretty good physical comedy in a movie that probably doesn't deserve a scene as funny as that one, so.
I feel like there were definitely scenes that I would give like a 3.5 stars to, but it's, the overall product.
Yeah.
Though, you just kind of blew my mind. I didn't realize Lost Souls is directed by Janusz Kaminski.
Yeah, it's... Oh, go listen to Richard and I talk about Lost Souls. That is barely a movie. It is, dearie, dear. It is so bad. It was one of those movies that came out when all those other
Philip
movies...
Baker Hall?
It has a lot of good people in it.
Oh my goodness. John Hurt?
Trust us when we tell you it's not worth it.
I believe you, but I'm just fascinated.
So on that note, let's take a break and we will play a preview for the next...
Stop dumping on me, Dad!
I've been up since 6 and I have a very tough day ahead.
I wish I could change places with you.
Well, I wish I could too.
Inside Marshall Seymour, successful businessman, divorced father, and self-styled workaholic, beats the heart of a little boy. Because Marshall Seymour is about to become his 11-year-old son, Charlie.
Awesome!
And vice versa.
Maybe this happened all over America.
What's gonna happen to you? You're 6'2" with the brain of an 11-year-old.
Charlie may be getting to that age.
He's losing it.
I think he has a crush on me.
No way! You never told me you had to see my homeroom teacher.
You never told me what hockey practice. I'm in the tub, do you mind? This is the woman I couldn't live with as a husband. And now I'm gonna be her son.
I'll do anything you want, Sam.
It's not what I want. It's what we want as a unit.
She's worried about your unit, Dad.
It's a Freudian nightmare.
Judge Reinhold.
Are you all right?
Do I look all right?
Fred Savage.
I don't suppose you have any Grey Poupon.
Vice versa.
What if we're stuck like this?
Oh my God. I have to go through puberty again.
That's right. On the next Culturecast, we're actually going to be talking about another body swap movie. We're going to be talking about Vice Versa, which I believe has Judge Reinhold in it. Crickets, folks. Crickets.
I mean, all I'm thinking is that, Richard, you could have been watching that, but I think I'm the one who picked this one.
Well,
yeah,
I did too. Look, I had a choice and I took this, so I got.
I think Richard, when we talked about the movies that I gave you guys kind of the offering for December and said what you guys wanted to watch, I think Richard, you actually picked Like Father Like Son because it had Dudley Moore in it.
Oh, probably, and I didn't. For some reason, I wanted to stay away from the George Burns one, and so yeah, I may have just leaned into Dudley Moore's good. Well, I mean, I guess...
So you can't blame me for this.
No. And to be fair, Richard also didn't watch the Owl movie, so...
But you liked the Owl movie, Chris.
I did. All I'm saying is it's a shame that Richard didn't get to watch the Owl movie.
That would have been a fun conversation. Richard, you could have heard me expose some very weird things about how apparently I have a lot of deeply rooted issues with kids' movies, especially movies where they give encouraging messages to kids. Like, I'm still disturbed by the scene where the owl tries to fly and he doesn't do a good job. And, like, the mentor is just like, oh, you did pretty good. Why does that scene disturb me so much? What does that say about me?
I think it says more about you than the movie.
Chris,
but you know what they say, Richard? You skipped that podcast and you got the outcome that you wanted, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I won. I mean, look, I don't want to get political, but Jesus Christ, I did get the outcome. Thank fucking God.
So, Richard, speaking of you giving your opinion on things, where can people find you when you're not square smack dab in the middle of the Culturecast?
You can check me out on Twitter, Richard Hatem, at Richard Hatem, and what I'm featuring recently on my Twitter feed, and this will be for the foreseeable future, certainly through Christmas, is hashtag Richard Hatem Book Club. I'm recommending all my favorite books, fiction, paranormal, entertainment, all of the ones I think are great. And so if you want to get into my mind and get a look at my bookshelf, check out my Twitter feed, and the hashtag is Richard Hatem Book Club.
How many of them are patent?
0.
Ah!
You son of a bitch.
Oh, well, hey, you know what? I was going to ask you, how many of them are Mein Kampf?
0.
What about you, Cullen? Where can people find you when you're not here?
I'm still blogging over at pulp-serenade.com. Need to come up with some new content. I have a piece this week at the LA Review of Books on Hard Case Crime's new anthology of Ray Bradbury crime fiction. I need to post a link for that on my blog. Yeah, that's kind of where I hang out, that blog. That's where I go.
Well, and as for me, you can find me on Twitter at Christmas Claus. I did change my Twitter handle because, hey, Casualty_Chris may not have been the best name during a pandemic, though to be fair, I didn't pick it because it was a pandemic. That's just, I podcast with Father Malone, and I had to give myself a stupid fucking name because he has the cool name, so I gave myself a stupid one, and now it's Christmas Claus, so doubly fuck me. So there you go. I mean, I'm not even the biggest fan of Christmas, to be perfectly so you can find me on Twitter, Christmas Claus. That's where I post all the podcasts that I work on, which is a substantial number of podcasts at this point in my life. As for this podcast, you can find it on the internet at Kulturecast.com, on Twitter at Kulturecast, and on Patreon, patreon.com/Kulturecast. Big thanks to these two dudes for joining me, and we'll catch you on the next episode.